started with our January Book Nook, where I share some of our newer books with you and just give you a peek of some of the new titles available at the library. The first one I want to share with you today, sorry, I have quite a stack on my lap here, I don't want to drop it, is Big by Vashti Harrison. The illustrations in this are beautiful. And I'm just going to read you what it says from the sleeve because I don't think I can say it any better. Once there was a girl. She had a big laugh and a big heart and very big dreams. And it was good until it wasn't. The first picture book, written and illustrated by award-winning and best-selling creator Vashti Harrison, traces a child's journey to self-love and shows the power of words to both hurt and heal. With spare text and exquisite illustrations, this emotional exploration of being big in a world that prizes small is a tender portrayal of how you can stand out and feel invisible at the same time. I love the way that this story is told. The illustrations truly are exquisite. That's a great word. And I do love that when you get to the end, when it says the grown-ups still couldn't see, and one says, I can help you change if you want. And the girl says, no, thank you. I like the way I am. Because they still couldn't see that she was just a girl. A very heartbreaking but also empowering book, Big by Vashti Harrison. The next one is less serious and more fun and also slightly educational. This is titled A Story No One Has Ever Heard Before by Avi Steinberg. And this story starts out saying, hey there, have I got a story for you? It's a strange story, a mysterious story, a wild, wondrous, and fantastical story, and most important, it's a story that no one has ever heard before because it's a story where anything can happen. And anything can happen because you are going to help write the story. And so the author kind of prompts the reader through some basic storytelling skills in a super hilarious way, or illustrates the basic structure of the story. There are 3 possible parallel storylines that the author uses as examples in this book. One is a carrot, a root vegetable that is living in fruits. One is an alien that needs a vacation. And one is a knight that's really not big on fighting. And the author's like, great, I'm so glad you want to help me tell this story. First, we've got to figure out our main character. And this is the example of the main character. And then it goes on and says, oh, no, we have just one problem. The problem is that we don't have a problem. We need a problem. And gives us some examples of very comical examples of problems. And then goes in through how close are very, very close and how very, very bad things can get for our main characters before they are resolved at a hilarious ending. And it's like, okay, are you ready now to tell your story? With the basic structure there. So humorous, delightful, and also manages to teach us the very basic elements of the story. The next one is The Littlest Yak and the New Arrival. This book is by Lou Frazier and Kate Hindley, and it's just a very sweet story about Gertie, a little yak who is about to have a new baby sister. And Gertie is so ready to be a big sister. She's got all the things that are ready for the little baby to arrive. But right as the newest little yak is being born, she starts to worry that Mommy Yak's heart might be too small for all the things in baby and the little yak. It's a very heartwarming ending. It's not a terribly new story, but it is a very sweet retelling of a story about how hearts books grow. The next one is a book about opposites, Kitty and Cat. Opposites attract. This is another humorous story that just has some very simple illustrations to help teach opposites using kitty and cat. One is old, one is new. One has many toys, one has few. Sometimes one is selfish, sometimes one is generous. So a sweet, humorous story that will help you talk about opposites from a feline perspective for all of you cat fans out there. This book is titled Make Way. It's from our early nonfiction section. This is the story of Robert McCloskey, Nancy Shern, and some very famous ducklings. It's written by Angela Burke-Kunkel and illustrated by Claire Keene. Now, this is the true story of Robert McCloskey, who is the author and illustrator of the classic Make Way for Ducklings, a story that I absolutely love. I am a big Robert McCloskey fan. I even love his Homer Press stories. I checked them out of the Crawford County Van Buren Library all the time when I was growing up. And it's also the story of the sculptor Nancy Shern, who sculpted the ducklings from the story that are in, Boston at the park in the story. And there's some pictures and things in the back. So there is a picture of the sculptures here dressed, and it was a big tradition to dress the ducklings. But it talks about the story of both artists and how they came to create these very classic images of these ducks, both in story form and in 3D form. You guys, I love these ducklings. I love this story so much that I got goosebumps, and I kind of teared up when I got to the end of this book. The next one is A Bed of Stars by Jessica Love. And this story has some nice illustrations as well. It's the story of a dad and a son who go and spend the night out in the desert. And kind of the pivotal moment in the book, right here, they're sleeping in the bed of a truck that is named Darlin. Is that not the best name for an old truck? Darlin. And it says, then it's time to go to sleep. This is the part I'm scared of, I say. How big the universe is and how it goes on forever and ever. After a minute, Dad says, do you know what stars are made of? What? I say. Energy, he says. Same as you, same as the beetles and crows and coyotes. We're all friends and family. Maybe if you learned their names, they wouldn't feel so much like strangers. And just look at that illustration. It's the one on the cover. So we don't live in the desert, but if you're interested in learning about the flora and fauna of the desert, this is also a great way to get a little introduction to that as well. The next book, Dark Cloud by Anna Lazowski and Keneva Lee, is also from our early nonfiction section, and it talks in a very basic, simple way about what it might be like for a child to have depression and how a child can express that and talk about it and live with it. It's a very positive book, actually, very encouraging. And I'm just going to read to you a little bit from the author's note at the back. It can be hard to talk about how you're feeling. Emotions are complicated. They change and they're different for everyone. Depression and sadness are tricky things. They can sneak up on you when you're supposed to be having fun, and they make you feel very alone. I wrote Dark Cloud because I want to give families a tool to help them talk about how mood changes can look and feel. In the story, we see Abigail trying to understand why this cloud has suddenly appeared in her life. And side note, yes, the dark cloud that literally kind of follows her around in the story is kind of the main metaphor here. At first, she struggles with what's happening. When her dad sees that struggle, he reaches out to her. In that moment, she realizes he understands and is there to support her. So there are also some resources listed back here, but I am really glad that this book exists. Okay, the last one goes on a separate for a laugh. I know this was a long Book Nook. This one is titled Who Done It? A Forest Floor Mystery. By Caitlin Aronson and illustrated by Stephanie Laveras. And yeah, it's a story about forest scat. It's a story about forest animal poop. And oh my goodness, it's funny. You want to laugh. You got one of those kids that is just obsessed with poop and animals and hilarious. I mean, yes. Yes, said Bear, that's my mystery. The mystery solved. I made this poo, a poo that no one can outdo. A poo that no one can outdo. I mean, I'm sorry. It's funny. So if you want a good laugh, you want to learn about some forest scat, I would check out Who Done It? All right, thank you. I know that was a lot of books, but there were just a lot of really good books on the shelf to share with you this month. Happy New